Rockman.Exe オペレートシューティングスター
Oh yeah, we're finally doing this. Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Play Megaman Battle Network Operate Star Force, the fan translation by Greg Master amongst others at the Rockman.Exe zone of Megaman.Exe Operate Shooting Star, or as it is in another way, welcome to Let's Replay Megaman Battle Network. Lan, wake up! If you don't get up, you'll be late for school. PET Net News, World 3 net crime, on the rise. It says the World 3 plan to control the net might be starting. Sleep. You've got mail from Dad, too. Look. Sorry I couldn't get off work Sunday. I'll be home soon. Here's a present for you, it says. There's some battleship data attached. I'm just having a great dream, too. I'll expand the chip data, so check your PET later, okay? So let's not dilly-dally and investigate redundant things for the moment. Let's grab our PET right here. Press the X button to see chip data and read mail. And we also get our AI navigation program, Megaman.Exe. Lan, good morning. Morning, Megaman. If you need to talk to me, just push the L button. Okay, let's get to school. Note you can also press Megaman on the touchscreen. Lan, check your mail again. Now, by and large, the interface is the exact same as it was in the original GBA version. The biggest changes come in for the battle system alongside some minor other things. And notably, the emails here are exactly as they are in the game, but the first change we're going to have for the DS version is right here. We get a cross-gun asterisk. People very familiar with Battle Network 1 will realize that ain't right. Operate Shooting Star / Star Force adds in a couple of things and changes the game's balance to be better suited to the later games in the series. For right now, you just need to know that asterisk codes are better than a lot of other things in terms of accessibility for getting through all your battleships, and we'll get through that as we go through the entire game. And I do mean the entire game this time, unlike the original LP, where I just did the main story. We're doing everything this time. If you investigate the table here, you get a Recover 10A. It's useless, but you can get it. I'll go over why recovery chips are useless later on. Good morning, Lan. Morning, Mom. Breakfast is on the table. Do you have time to eat? No, I don't, because clearly I need to get to school immediately. Lan, you're late. Uh-oh. Mail looks grumpy. I want to ask you to wait for me. Did you just say something? Come on, let's go. Why do we always have to walk to school together? Silly, because we've always got so much to talk about. She means she's got a lot to talk about. You just listen. Quiet. Have you heard about the oven accidents? People's ovens have been spitting fire all of a sudden. Huh. I bet it's another World 3 virus on the loose. You're just imagining things. Maybe. Well, here we are. Let's get to class. And now for a bunch of tutorial. Morning, Lan. Dex is looking for you. He's too big to even be in elementary school, you know? Scary. This is the teacher's desk. There's no chair. These books are all by Miss Mari's favorite author, Dr. Yasu's Guide to Virus Busting. Looks interesting. You wish to ask Madame Yai herself about PETs? I want to say no, but for tutorial reasons, it's probably best that I actually say yes. Curiosity is a virtue. Okay, listen up good. PET is short for Personal Terminal. It's a portable link to the net, see? Kind of like a cell phone that does a whole lot more. Now, if only this game had the foresight to realize cell phones would become that. You can send mail, use electronic money, and read textbooks. The Navi program inside helps if you have a problem. You have one on your PET too. Wasn't it called Megaman? Yes, it is. Get used to saying that name a lot. Whoa, no way. And I was like, for real? Gossiping. You know, what 6th graders do. 5th graders, I think, in this game even. They seldom age in these games, but they do age. Man, you heard about the World 3's plan to control the net, yeah? Huh? Say World 3 is making a virus to control the net. Then they'll control everything. Schools, companies, the army. Then everything would have to be the way they want it. No way, man. Not if I can help it. Well, good for you, you little rebel. Now, the only thing you need to do in order to progress in the game is talk to Dex here in the green, but you can talk to anyone else if you really wanted to. I've been waiting for you, Lan. I challenge you to a net battle. You wimpy Mega Man against my Guts Man. I heard that. Net battling isn't allowed, you know. Ah, stuff it. Sure got a big mouth for such a shrimp. We're not bothering anyone, are we, Lan? Well, I guess. Shrimp. That's no way to talk to a lady. Well, good news, Dex. You have literally been saved by the bell. Ah, man. Class is starting. And after class, Lan, be there. Let's begin class, shall we? First period is virus busting. Who's read net news? I did. It said World 3 net crimes on the rise. Very good. An extra mark for checking your net news. Ah, of course. You should know too, Lan. It's important that we all know how to fight viruses. Huh, I'd like to see a World 3 virus take on me and Guts Man. Dex and his silly little Guts Man. What'd you say? Ah, relax. Why would World 3 even bother with you anyway, Dex? What, you... Lan? Quiet in the class. Today we'll be using the common virus called a Metar. Jack in your PET so your net navy can access the net. Lan said to jack in. Press the R button. Do just that. Yeah. It looks like everyone's navi's online. Okay, I'm releasing the Netar. Data now. Everyone ready? Welcome to the first of many tutorial fights throughout this series. Okay, let's have a demonstration on how to delete viruses. When fighting, you must first send chip data to your navi. You choose the chips to send in this window. Chip icons are shown at the bottom of the text of the custom screen. From here, you choose which chips you want to send to the navi. This shows the chip data you have selected. It shows the attack rating. This is the virus's hit points, HP. It shows how tough this virus is. You can normally only send one chip at a time, but you can send multiple copies of the same chip, such as 2 or 3 cannons. This will let you use more weapons and fight much better. Okay, now we'll choose which chip data to send to the navi. Select with the A button, press the Y button to see an explanation of a chip. Pressing the select button will hide the custom window, so you can see the whole field. I forget which game added that feature in particular, but it's seldom ever useful, honestly. You can also run with the L button, but that wouldn't make for much of a lesson, would it? You chose a cannon, I see. That means you can choose one more cannon. Okay, let's send this data to your navi. Choose OK. Bossy. We've sent the data. Now it's time to fight the virus. Now I'll explain how to fight as we actually do so. You can move your navi up, down, left, and right. You shoot with the B button. It's weak, but fast. Your HP are shown at the top left. If you go down to 0 HP, your navi is deleted, so be careful. Above your navi's head is the chip data you sent. You can only use it once, so be careful. And that's the basic battle technique. Easy, right? Miss Mari, what do you do if you've used your chips and the virus still isn't deleted? That's a good question. Everyone look here. This is your custom gauge. It slowly fills as you fight. When it's full, press the L or R button. You can then go to the custom screen and choose new chips to send. All right, let's try it. Good luck. We'll get more into the differences about the battle system from the original to this DS remake as we proceed, though the run thing is completely new for this version. Good job. Let's go to the next lesson. In the original game, you could only run using escape battleships, which, thank God that's gone now. Okay, now I'll tell you about support chips. Not all chips are weapons. For example, an area grab chip will increase the area that your navi is able to move around in. Since you need to get close for a sword, this would be a wise strategy. Miss Mari, I thought that we could only choose chip copies. Another good question. Look here, please. Do you see the letter? That's just chip's code. You can choose a different type of chip if it has the same code type. Please notice that Area Grab and Wide Sword have the same code. They're both S. You can choose 2 chips at the same time now. They're shown here in the order that you chose them. This will help you plan your strategy. Okay, let's try that. Choose Area Grab and Wide Sword in order. Okay, next choose the White Sword. Alright, let's send this data to Navi. And time for the usual. Alright, let's review that strategy. First, you'll use the A button to use Area Grab. Then the virus's area will shrink right, and you'll have more room to move around. Move into the area that you took and use the sword. This is a powerful strategy. However, be careful of the virus's attack when close. Good luck, everyone. We'll talk more about the individual viruses and what they can drop and all of that as we actually encounter them in the main game. Main thing to note is that it's a tutorial fight. Now, the battle screen there looks a little bit different in the original version, that you have 3 rows of chips, and that chip codes aren't immediately visible unless you're highlighting a chip there on the bottom left of the chips. That is to make this game more in line with the sequels, particularly Battle Network 2 mechanically, because this is an overhaul by and large. Good job. Chip codes are really important, so remember them. Also, aside from the alphabet, there's a special star code, or asterisk. This code is like a wild card. You can select any other code with it. If you find chips with the asterisk code, add them to your folder to make it easier to use. Trust me, that is going to be very key moving forward because it allows you to much more easily move through your folder if you're trying to get the specific chip combinations. Okay, let's move on to the last topic. For our final lesson, we'll talk about chip adding. By using chip adding, you can increase the number of chips that you can use to make combinations for improved strategies. Look at the screen. See the add button at the bottom right? If you select this button without choosing any chips, you'll have to fight for 1 turn without chips, but on your next turn, you'll be able to select from 10. This is a chance to use a bunch of chips at once. This should surely give you all the strategies you need. Okay, a pop quiz. For this test, you'll need to use all the techniques I've just taught you and delete a virus. Good luck. The add system works a little bit differently in Battle Network 1 than it did in Battle Network 2's Beyond, and even then in this remake a little bit differently from the original Battle Network 1. In BN1, you could select up to 15 chips by doing 2 successive add turns, but in this you're limited to just the 10. Additionally, in Battle Network 2 Beyond, you sacrificed chips with the add button to increase the total amount you could select from your custom screen permanently for that battle. And additionally, I should note, this game looks like it might be resource-based at first, but your folder refreshes at the start of every battle. You might use up all 30 of your battleships in a single one, but they'll be back for the next one. Don't worry, this game's not that cruel, though I wouldn't doubt if there's a Kaizo hack out there that does it, because, oh boy, people like making games more difficult than they have to be when it comes to fan mods. Good job. That's all for today's class. After class. Whew. Wow, today just flew by, huh? Let's go home. All right. But now we can not only take a moment to save, but we can take a look at Mega Man's stats. Mega Man only has 4 stats in this game. HP, which is self-explanatory, attack, speed, and charge. Those can be leveled up to a maximum of 5 per, but we'll be getting to how we do that later on. When you get a new battleship, you can't use it right away. Select folder on your menu and put it into a chip folder. Better practice when you get home so you don't forget. A lot of this game's combat is stylized around making a very efficient folder to just blast through enemies. Frankly speaking, it can be a little bit overwhelming for new players, especially because there's a lot of experimentation when it comes to finding and testing out new battleships. But if you're really experimental, you can make some really destructive folders throughout this series, especially in Battle Network 1 due to some misbalancing that Operate Star Force tries to fix, but it still is kind of busted. Well, you got saved by the bell, but now it's time to fight. My guts man rocks. I've got the latest version yesterday. Let's do it. All right, time for, I believe, an optional first boss fight. That's the spirit. Don't be a crybaby if you lose, you hear? All right, Gutsman's a pretty straightforward boss, but he is a lot more complicated than the Metars we were just dealing with. The big thing to note about boss fights in this series is that by and large, a Navi boss can move to anywhere on the enemy field, whereas most viruses can only move to adjacent panels depending on their movement patterns. Gutsman's going to teleport all over the place, trying to hit you with his Guts Hammer that will either send a shockwave forward or crack all panels within a line. He can also go for a straightforward left hook into your face, but I forget if that's only later versions or even later games that do that. Either way, 200 HP, so even the starting folder can shred through him pretty quickly, even if you don't have a good folder yet. Ugh. You just got lucky. That doesn't count, okay? Sure it doesn't, Guts. I'm sure Land's record's already a lot more in his favor for wins than losses. Occasionally throughout the game you'll get emails. These will be either reminders, hints for the game, things of that nature. Land, this is Dad. I made a power-up program for Megaman. It's a little big to send by mail. But don't worry, I'll bring it home soon. You and Megaman make a great team. Keep it up. Dad. P.S. Don't forget that whenever you're in a pinch, you can press the PET's L button to talk to Megaman. That is this game's hit system of sorts. I forgot to mention something in class today. Chips don't run out when you use them, so use whatever you need. Also, press the PET's R button to recall your NetNavi into the net. This is a useful trick called jacking out. Sorry for forgetting, and see you in class tomorrow, Mari. Essentially, to go through those two things in order, to go on what Dad just talked about, if you press L or the touchscreen, Megaman will give you a hint on where to go. Let's get on before it gets too late. If you do that while in the net, Land more or less says the same thing along different wordings. It's not the most needed thing, but I'm glad the game has a reminder system like that. It's kind of like how in Fire Red, Leaf Green, you got little hints as a reminder. It's mostly useful for after you've taken a break or if you've been grinding your ass off trying to find some particular battle chips later on in the game and you forgot exactly what you were doing otherwise. But thankfully this series is so relatively linear that it's not too needed compared to other RPGs, I feel. And by and large, the NPCs in the game are hints in one regard or another, as they tend to be in games like this. Like someone said, hey, press the R button to try to jack into anything. Also, I should note, calling a thing in a game like this jacking was probably not the wisest decision by Capcom, but oh well, we get to be 12 years old eternally and laugh at it. Now, I should note, if you're more familiar with Battle Network 1 Original, there are going to be some obvious differences as we go, beyond just the obvious bottom screen there for no reason at the moment. But if you want to play this fan translation for yourself, I will leave a link in the description below in every single video in the series to the page on the Rockman.Exe zone where you can download the patch. It's just up to you to find everything else required for that, because you got Google. It's right there. Now, the thing I find easily the hardest to adapt to when it comes to this remake is the music. The sound fonts are the exact same, but for some reason they added an echo onto everything in the game that's not just a straight up sound effect. And in some cases it makes the music sound good. Or better, rather. In most cases, though, I feel it kind of just detracts from the original melody. I'm kind of grateful they never did a sequel to this, because if they did this to the Mega Man Battle Network 2 soundtrack, I would be personally offended. But let that be a lesson right there. That might look like a doghouse, but if you investigate with the A button, you'll learn you can jack into it and find one of this game's generic computers. By and large, unless it's a main scenario network or the main internet itself, this series' computers are going to be set up like this general cube shape. But they do have unique enemies in some cases, although in this case we'll just find more Metars. To actually describe these enemies, they are locked into their column, and they will attack in order. Two Metars will not attack at the same time. Only 40 HP, so they don't stand up to much, and I think they only do 10 damage with their shockwave attack. With that said, let's talk about the drops. That's a guard A. That is a shield that doesn't reflect, it just protects you from a single hit. That can also drop in the G code, but the Metars can also drop shockwave chips in the C and K code. How this game does drops is, depending on how fast you've cleared a battle, how many shots you've taken, how many times you've been hit, things of that nature. Generally, the better you perform, the better a busting rank you get, and generally speaking, the better your rank, the better your reward. This is a Cano Dump. They will only attack you if you're in the same row as them, in which case they'll send out a little lock-on reticle, and if you're in the middle of it, you get shot. With that said, it doesn't do too much damage, it only does 10. And they can only drop the cannon chips in the A, B, and D code. Cannons are going to be pretty essential in early game, but the shockwaves are going to be one you want to get really quickly. Thankfully, cannons help you get shockwaves because it's so effective. Now, by and large, I am going to be editing out repeat virus battles, but early on in the game, so you can not only learn the combat mechanics if you're new to the series, but so you can learn what's in any given area. I'm generally going to be showing off a couple of repeat battles here and there. Thankfully, this game's combat system is so relatively straightforward, and the battle's so simple that seldom does a battle take over 40 seconds on average, I'd say. Oh, hello there, random person. Lan, welcome home. A man from Net Safety's checking our home control panel. You heard, right? About the ovens exploding? Ah, that's the accident Mail was talking about this morning. Hello! I think a virus might be responsible for the accidents. We're checking every home's control panel just to be safe. I'm glad it didn't happen to us. Lan, go to your room so you won't get in the way. Let's get on the net. Fair enough. Also, yes, I should note based off that, I am basing a lot of my voices for these characters off the dub of the anime, because, I'll be real, I love the dumb Scottish accent and stuff like that. There's some funny ones in there. But with that, I'm going to end this off here. Get used to that voice dialogue, by the way, when you jack in. You can't skip it if you're familiar with Battle Network 1. And in part 2, we're going to start exploring the internet and see what awaits us there. Battle Network 1 structure's a lot more free-flowing in that regard, but we'll talk more about that as we progress, of course. See you guys then.